Most people don't realize this, but the supplement industry isn't confusing by accident. Every year, new pills promise better longevity, sharper memory, stronger muscles, younger joints, and somehow the list keeps growing while real results stay unclear. If you've ever looked at your supplement shelf and thought, am I actually helping my health span or just wasting money? That question alone already puts you ahead of most people. Here's the uncomfortable part. Taking more supplements doesn't mean you're aging well. In fact, for many people, it's doing the opposite, creating noise instead of progress. The truth is, aging well isn't about chasing trends or stacking dozens of pills. It's about knowing what actually works, what's backed by human trials, and what quietly supports strength after 50, mobility, balance, and long-term independence, without hype, fear, or shortcuts. So instead of adding another supplement to the cart, this conversation does something different. It strips everything down to just 3 essentials: simple, evidence-based, and practical. The kind that actually support longevity and quality of life over time. If your goal is to age smarter, stay stronger, and protect your independence, you'll want to see how this plays out. Most people hear omega-3 and immediately think heart health, and then mentally file it away as something boring but probably good. But here's the quiet truth most never hear. Omega-3s sit at the core of healthy aging because they influence inflammation, cellular communication, and how your body responds to stress over time. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is one of the biggest drivers of aging poorly, quietly eroding mobility, balance, and quality of life. When inflammation runs high for years, aging accelerates, not dramatically, but relentlessly. And that's exactly where omega-3s earn their place in any serious longevity conversation. From a biological standpoint, EPA and DHA don't work like a temporary fix. They literally become part of your cells. These fats integrate into cell membranes, making them more fluid, more responsive, and better at communicating. That matters for everything from joint comfort and brain clarity to reaction time and balance. When omega-3 intake is low, cells become stiff, signaling becomes sloppy, and inflammation tends to linger longer than it should. In evidence-based health circles, this is why the omega-3 index is increasingly viewed as a meaningful biomarker for health span, not just cardiovascular risk. Practically speaking, this isn't abstract science. It shows up in daily life. People with adequate omega-3 levels often report better joint tolerance during movement, less morning stiffness, and improved recovery from exercise, especially strength after 50. That means walking feels smoother, getting up from the floor feels less taxing, and functional fitness becomes easier to maintain. A simple habit helps here. Aiming for 1 to 2 grams per day of combined EPA and DHA, sourced from high-quality, third-party tested fish oil or algae oil. Think fewer pills, higher quality, not the bargain bin option with a shiny label. And here's the part most people miss. Omega-3s don't work in isolation. Their real power shows up when the body has enough energy to use them properly and enough structural support to translate reduced inflammation into strength and independence. Lower inflammation sets the stage, but something else determines whether muscles, brain cells, and daily function actually take advantage of that environment. That's where the next supplement enters the picture, and it may surprise you how misunderstood it still is. Creatine has one of the worst branding problems in longevity. Most people still associate it with bodybuilding, loud gyms, and 20-somethings chasing bigger arms. And because of that, they completely miss its real value for healthy aging. In reality, creatine is one of the most researched, safest, and most practical supplements for maintaining strength after 50, cognitive resilience, and functional independence. At its core, aging well isn't about looking strong. It's about being strong enough to live your life without hesitation. And creatine quietly supports exactly that. From a cellular perspective, creatine acts like a rapid energy reserve. It helps cells regenerate ATP, the basic unit of energy, faster, especially during moments that demand quick effort. Think standing up from a chair, catching your balance, climbing stairs, or carrying groceries. These aren't gym movements. They're real-world tests of mobility and balance. As we age, ATP production becomes less efficient, and that's when everyday tasks start to feel heavier than they should. Creatine doesn't give superpowers. It restores capacity that time slowly chips away. Where this really matters is muscle preservation. After 50, the body naturally loses muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia, and with it goes strength, stability, and confidence. Creatine has consistently shown the ability to help preserve lean mass when combined with even modest resistance training. That could be as simple as body weight squats, resistance bands, or light dumbbells 2 to 3 times a week. The standard dose is refreshingly simple: 5 grams per day of creatine monohydrate. No cycling, no loading, no nonsense, just consistency. But here's an underappreciated layer. Creatine doesn't only fuel muscles, it supports the brain. Emerging human research links creatine to better cognitive performance, memory resilience, and mental energy, especially under stress or fatigue. And when strength and clarity improve together, independence follows. Still, strong muscles and a sharp brain need something else to truly stand the test of time: a solid structural foundation. And that foundation depends heavily on how your body handles one overlooked mineral, which leads us directly to the next supplement. Vitamin D is often treated like a seasonal afterthought, something people remember in winter and forget the rest of the year. But in the context of longevity and healthy aging, vitamin D deficiency is far more serious than most realize. Low levels have been consistently associated with higher all-cause mortality, weaker muscles, poorer balance, and increased fracture risk. In other words, when vitamin D runs low, independence quietly becomes fragile. Aging well requires more than movement and protein. It requires a biochemical environment that supports strength, stability, and long-term function. Here's where things get interesting. Vitamin D doesn't actually strengthen bones by itself. It helps the body absorb calcium. But absorption without direction creates a problem. Calcium has to go to the right place. This is where vitamin K2 enters the conversation, specifically the MK7 form. K2 activates proteins that guide calcium into bones and teeth, while keeping it out of arteries and soft tissue. Without enough K2, calcium can end up where it doesn't belong. That's not optimization. That's mismanagement. From a practical standpoint, this combination directly influences mobility, balance, and functional fitness. Strong bones aren't just about fracture prevention. They're about confidence in movement. People move differently when they trust their structure. Walking becomes smoother, resistance training feels safer, and posture naturally improves. Many evidence-based protocols recommend around 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily paired with K2-MK7, though individual needs vary. This is one area where blood testing matters. Guessing is not a strategy. And here's the bigger picture. Omega-3s reduce systemic inflammation, creatine fuels muscles and brain, and D3 with K2 provides the structural framework that holds everything together. These supplements don't chase youth, they protect function. But supplements alone don't create longevity. They amplify the signals your daily habits send, and when those habits align correctly, the effect compounds, which leads us directly into how this entire stack works as a unified system rather than isolated pills. When people hear the word stack, they often picture a complicated routine with endless pills and conflicting advice. But the real power of this longevity stack is its simplicity. Omega-3s, creatine, and the combination of vitamin D3 with K2 form a triad that addresses 3 core pillars of healthy aging: inflammation control, energy production, and structural integrity. Together, they don't promise youth. They support function. And function is what protects independence, mobility, and quality of life over time. Each supplement plays a distinct role, yet they reinforce one another. Omega-3s calm systemic inflammation, creating a healthier internal environment. Creatine steps in to support muscle power and cognitive resilience, helping the body respond to daily demands with less effort. Vitamin D3 and K2 ensure that bones, joints, and cardiovascular structures remain strong enough to handle that activity safely. This isn't about optimization for athletes. It's about functional fitness for real life, especially after 50. What makes this stack particularly effective is accessibility. These supplements are widely available, relatively affordable, and supported by human clinical research, not influencer hype. More importantly, they don't require perfection. Consistency beats intensity here. Taken daily, alongside movement, adequate protein, and good sleep, they quietly compound benefits. Think of them as infrastructure. You don't notice them day to day, but without them, everything else starts to wobble. One important reminder deserves repeating. This is not a replacement for medical care. Blood work, especially for vitamin D levels, matters. Talking to a healthcare professional before starting any supplement routine isn't a formality. It's part of evidence-based health. Done correctly, this stack becomes a tool for aging well, not a gamble. And once that foundation is in place, the next question naturally arises. How do daily habits and timing determine whether these supplements actually deliver their full potential? Here's an uncomfortable truth most supplement videos never address. Supplements don't create results. They amplify signals already present in your body. If the signal is weak, chaotic, or inconsistent, even the best evidence-based stack underperforms. Longevity isn't about adding more inputs. It's about sending clearer messages. Movement, sleep, and protein intake tell your body what to do. Supplements simply turn up the volume. When people say supplements didn't work for me, what they're often missing is the signal those supplements were meant to support. Take muscle, for example. Creatine can support strength after 50, but only if the body regularly receives a reason to maintain muscle. That reason doesn't require brutal workouts. Simple, repeatable actions work. Standing up from a chair without using your hands, carrying groceries evenly, or performing slow, controlled squats while holding a countertop. These movements send a survival-level message to the body. This muscle is needed. Supplements then help preserve it. Without that message, the body quietly downscales, no matter what's in the pill bottle. The same principle applies to omega-3s and vitamin D. Omega-3s help regulate inflammation, but chronic stress, poor sleep, and constant sedentary behavior send opposing signals. Vitamin D supports bone and balance, but sunlight exposure, walking, and weight-bearing activity help determine how effectively that support is used. This is where many people get stuck. They optimize details while ignoring the big levers. Longevity favors alignment, not perfection. This insight changes the way people approach healthy aging. Instead of asking, what else should I take? The better question becomes, what signal am I sending every day? When supplements align with that signal, Healthspan improves quietly but steadily. And once that mindset clicks, timing becomes the next leverage point. Because when you take something, often matters almost as much as what you take. One of the biggest myths in longevity culture is the idea that progress comes from finding the perfect protocol. In reality, healthy aging rewards consistency far more than precision. The body doesn't respond dramatically to what you do once in a while. It adapts to what you repeat. This is especially true for mobility, balance, and functional fitness after 50. A simple routine done most days quietly outperforms an advanced plan done inconsistently. Longevity isn't built in breakthroughs, it's built in patterns. This matters because supplements, even evidence-based ones, work on biological timelines, not emotional ones. Omega-3s don't lower inflammation overnight. Creatine doesn't preserve muscle in a week. Vitamin D levels don't stabilize instantly. But over months, these small inputs reshape Healthspan in measurable ways. Strength feels more accessible, balance becomes steadier, recovery improves. The mistake most people make is quitting too early because nothing feels dramatic. Aging well is subtle by design. Here's a practical way to anchor consistency. Tie supplements to daily anchors that already exist. Omega-3s with breakfast, creatine with coffee or a smoothie, vitamin D3 and K2 with the first meal of the day. No tracking apps, no overthinking, just habits that fit real life. This approach reduces decision fatigue and increases adherence, which, from a behavioral science standpoint, is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success in evidence-based health. And this is where perspective shifts. Longevity isn't about chasing youth or hacking biology. It's about protecting independence year after year. The people who age best aren't obsessing over trends. They're playing the long game with calm confidence. When decisions are guided by clarity instead of urgency, results compound naturally. And that's the mindset that separates those who age reactively from those who truly age better. Here's the part that really matters. Supplements don't replace the basics, they refine them. Longevity isn't built on pills alone. It's built on daily movement, enough protein, quality sleep, and habits your body can actually sustain. Omega-3s, creatine, and vitamin D3 with K2 work best when they support a lifestyle that already sends the right signal. Stay strong, stay mobile, stay independent. When that signal is clear, supplements become amplifiers instead of crutches. So the real question isn't what supplement should I add next? It's what habit am I reinforcing every single day? Are you training your legs to stay strong enough to get up off the floor? Are you protecting your balance before it becomes a problem? Are you making decisions today that your future self will thank you for, not just physically, but mentally? Aging well is active, it's intentional, and it rewards those who play the long game. If this helped clarify things, I want to hear from you. What supplements are you currently taking, and which ones are you reconsidering after this? Leave a comment below. And if you want to keep learning how to age better with evidence-based guidance, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, before you go, don't miss the video on your screen now. I ignored this 5-minute daily habit for years. It can add 10 years to your life. Supplements optimize. But that daily habit is the foundation most people overlook. Your goal isn't youth, it's independence.